All right, Algebra 1 students, let's look at Unit 4, Lesson 14, Absolute Value Functions, Part 2. So we have three goals here. I can describe the effects of adding a number to the expression that defines an absolute value function. So if we create an expression for absolute value, what happens when we add numbers to that expression? I can explain the meaning of absolute value function in terms of distance. So I understand what a absolute value function is saying given distance and the knowledge of that distance from zero. When given an absolute value function in words or in function notation, I can make sense of it and can create a table of values and a graph to represent it. So we want to be able to take an absolute value function, create a table of values that represent that absolute value function, and then use that table to make a graph that also represents that absolute value function. Our vocabulary is domain, all the possible inputs for the function, range, all the possible outputs for the function, absolute value, the distance a number is from zero. And remember, there is no negative in this. -1 is a distance of 1 from 0. +1 is also a distance of 1 from 0. Piecewise function, a function that is defined by multiple rules to show different parts of the function. All right, so your warm-up is to look at this information and create a absolute guessing error graph or absolute value graph given the situation. So we have Toronto, which is a city on the border of the US and Canada, just north of Buffalo, New York. Here are 12 guesses of the average temperature of Toronto in degrees Celsius in February 2017. So we have these 12 numbers. Write them down, make a table. The actual average was 0 degrees Celsius. So within that table, you're going to want to create a absolute guessing error. So this first person guessed 5, which means that our x value is 5, the guess. And then that error would also be 5 because it's 5 away from 0. And then you would go down here to 5, 5, and you would graph it. All right, so you need to create the graph and then try and determine a rule that would take our, or give our, so create a rule that would find our outputs given our inputs. So an absolute value or a piecewise function that can take our guess to the absolute guessing error. All right, bring this work to class tomorrow and that will start our discussion. Thanks.